welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be drawing an arm for you guys and kind of just talking about my process. So as you could see, I started with the scapula, moved down to the humerus, and right now I'm working on the ulna and the radius. What I like to do, what I've learned recently, now that I'm learning anatomy, is I want to just lay the basic structure of the bones first. I'm not really too worried about the curves and where they meet and how they meet at first. I just want to lay the basic structure down, so that way I don't get too caught up in the details. It seems like, oh, it's just bones. There's what kind of details? No, there's so many details everywhere, I promise you. So now I'm moving up to the scapula, which is just the shoulder blade. And this is actually, so this viewpoint of the arm is as if he was like, you're facing forward, your palm is upwards, right? And so I always struggled with arms. Always. I always struggle with everything, to be honest. But no more. No more. Anyways, so I'm just really laying down this base right now because I want to have a little reference right next to me when I go in to do the actual muscles. So now I'm just going to do a quick little outline so that I have an idea of the shape of the arm when I move over to do the actual muscles, right? And so the thing about the arm is it is so bendy and windy, and like you look at it and you think it would be straight. It's not straight. There's so many curves in that arm. And I think that's why I struggled, because I always put the curves in the wrong place. And even if you look now, I have to do a bit of like sculpting out, erasing here and there, because I always make the arms look weird. But we're going to work on that. We're working on that, as you can see. So now I'm going to move over and start blocking in these shapes for an arm with actual muscles on it instead of it just being the bone. So again, I'm going to start with the clavicle because that is a very noticeable landmark. I see that every day, all the time. I recognize it, feels comfortable to me. So I'm going to move down to the bicep, which is also a very easy muscle to remember. You know, we all know about it. It's very popular, I guess. Moving down to the bicep. And so now it starts to get tricky for me because that's really all I know. That's really all I know. So I was like, how am I gonna tackle this shit right now? And so I said, you know what, let me just go down and give myself an outline to work with and just block in the shapes of the muscles. I get panicked every time I'm drawing. I literally just feel like everything I'm doing is wrong, and then it's not until I'm like absolutely done where I'm like, actually it's not bad. Like, these sketches are actually not great, but for my first time drawing an arm with the muscles and stuff, I feel like, hey, it's not terrible, you know. It definitely needs work, but for the sake of learning, I feel pretty good about these sketches. But yeah, so I blocked in all the shapes here of the muscles, and I will put a list of the muscles in the description or on the screen here somewhere, so that you guys can, if you're trying to learn it, you can easily define them, because that's what I do. I'm just going to number each muscle and then study. Really, that it's my form of studying. Coming in here and just adding a little bit of detail now that I have blocked in all of the shapes. I just kind of want to give it a little bit of definition and define where those curves are meeting and overlapping so that I can understand what it would look like on the surface. Because if there's just skin on top of these muscles, then obviously you're going to see all of those little curves in your arm or in, your character's arm. And so I'm just kind of paying attention to where everything meets and connects and overlaps while I'm doing this shading. And so that's my way of kind of burning it into my brain of what this looks like, so that way I can draw this without having to look at a reference. And that will probably be a while for now, because even looking at it now, the arm is slightly tilted inward. It's a little bit too close to where the torso would be. So it should, there's nothing wrong with it being that way. Like because you could hold your arm inward like that, but that wasn't the intention that I was going for when I was drawing it. I wanted it to be like your kind of the how. I'll show you the reference. So you guys can see it's a little bit too inward. And so that's another really important thing about when you're teaching yourself something. You got to be honest. You got to look at it and say, what is the difference? Because it's not so much saying like, oh, you suck. It just has to be like, where are the differences and how can I improve those differences? You know what I mean? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If this was helpful, let me know and maybe subscribe. Okay, bye.